Hey, Warrior Saints. Glad to have you beautiful people with us as we continue our conversation from yesterday. Continuing, right? So in other
Yeah.
words, do what I say, you will live in this place that I prepared for you that has all the stuff you need, right? The building
Mhm.
blocks of life. Just do what I tell you. And then the story continues. Then the Lord God said, now this part I love. I think it's so fabulous because the way I look at this and read this shatters all other, things I've heard and seen before. Then the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make a helper fit for him. So out of the ground, the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every bird of the air and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called every living creature, that was its name. The man gave names to all cattle, to the birds of the air, to every beast of the field. And that Hebrew is hayat. It's the beast, it's not animals necessarily, but every living. Hayat is life, right? Anyways, every life of the field. But for the man, there was not found a helper fit for him. Keep going, verse 21. So the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man. While he slept, he took one of his ribs and so on. And then it jumps to verse 23. Then man said, this is at last bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. And therefore, a man leaves his father and mother, and the two are joined and cleave to one another and be one flesh. Now, the way people often read this, I don't.
Mm.
I'm not looking at this, certainly not historical in the sense of Gettysburg, right? I also don't read it in the sense of what is going on in the way people normally or traditionally theologize / philosophize this, right? Which is, the beasts were nice, but
Yeah. I think the key, and I don't mean to steal your
No,
thunder,
go.
but I mean, the key is totally this. He didn't find a helper fit for him. He's
Well, but how do people normally read that? What do we, default into saying that's what
oh, we want to say that, like, oh, God gave him what he needed by giving him a woman, by giving him a counterpart, by giving him yin and yang,
Yeah.
not realizing that the counterpart of man, ha'adam, is actually ha'adama.
Yeah.
We then personify the counterpart of man into the woman that is now taken out of man.
Yeah, totally. You got it again. Like, I mean, we think of it in those terms. It's perfect complementality and marriage, and those things are there. We all like that stuff, of course, but that's not what this text is saying. Not as I see it.
Mhm.
Look what happens here. First, God made everything. And we saw at the end of chapter 1, it was very good. Then, in the retelling, chapter 2, he makes Ha'adam, the man, from Adamah, the ground. He then makes the beasts of the field and all the rest of the stuff that he gives to the man from the ground.
Yeah.
So it must have been very good.
Mhm.
So is it that the stuff God made, when we get to that verse, no helper was found fit for the man? Is it nothing was found fit for the man, or nothing was found fit for the man?
Yeah. Not for the man, by the man.
Right. In other
Yeah.
words, it's he's not happy, the man, with what God had given to him.
Yep.
Right. And I mean, we heard it was very good. All of it comes from the same
Mhm.
place. So he got to name everything.
Yeah.
The Lord God gave him creative power. I mean, when you name something, you create it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
yeah,
think about when you named Eleanor and Johnny.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you struck those names and not just writing them on the birth certificate, when you called them that name, that's who they became. And if you bring your daughter to me and say, this is my daughter, Genevieve, Gigi, no way. She's not a Gigi.
Yeah.
She's an Eleanor.
Yep. Yep. That's her name. That's who she is. That was what we did. And there's pressure in naming your children. There's pressure in that. There's what if we give her a weird name? What if we give her a name that she's not gonna, like you almost become, like, not almost, you become that.
Yeah.
You become who
Totally.
that person is.
Absolutely. And that's what Genesis is saying, that God gave that creative power to the man. Whatever he would call, Hebrew qara, right? Qara, to call out, that's what it became.
Yeah.
Now, watch what happens. Nothing was found fit for the man. So God says, all right, fine. Let's see. Well, I'll let you do it your way. Let's see what happens. And what happens? He takes a rib from the man and creates the woman, which people often think of as the counterpart. And it even uses the Hebrew ish, the man, for isha, his wife, his woman. Ish and isha are the masculine and feminine counterparts. It's not that this is how I see it. It's not that God's creative power in Genesis 1 and 2 was somehow lacking. Everything he made was very good. It's that man wasn't satisfied with what God had provided. So instead of, submitting to it, he takes some of him and produces more of him, right? Like, in other words, it is not that, like, he didn't take, everything was from the ground. Everything was very good, but he had to take him and make more of him. That's what it is. It's not about man and woman and sex and marriage and all that kind of stuff. It's that I say this is for us, the birth of ego.
Well, and I think that that's why it comes at the beginning of the downfall of the story, because it is a story that is there to break the ego, and
Yeah.
it shows you where the ego comes from.
Yeah.
It shows you the birth of that ego, because out of that ego, out of that hubris, the whole rest of the story goes downhill. The whole everything, as we're going to see as we continue, is going to go to a bad place. But I think this is a great way to look at things. This is a really helpful way to shift our mindset in how we're approaching these two accounts of Genesis. Great, 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 great.
Hey, Warrior Saints. Thank you so much for being with us. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and share. It helps us get the word out there. And if you want more, visit us at warriorsaints.org and subscribe to Understanding the Bible. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.